Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well. Today we will not talk something too technical, but let's touch upon something very important. How pricing is an important stage of drug development. On that note, welcome back to my channel. This is your host Jude Stephen. Let's say someone in your family is diagnosed with breast cancer and the doctor says there is a treatment that works genuinely for a specific type. I mean, it really works. Then you find out the cost. One vial is around 75,000 rupees. And the person doesn't need one single vial. They need a course of them over months. So now you're doing the math that you never wanted to do, selling things that you never want to sell, calling people whom you don't want to talk to. Underneath it all, that ugly question nobody says out loud: how much a life worth in rupees? This drug is called trastuzumab, which costed approximately 70,000 rupees in India until 2010. But in 2017, everything changed. Before I could tell you how that happened, I have to teach you two words that many people think it's the same. That is generics and biosimilar. And the difference between them is the whole story. Usually, when a drug's patent expires, many companies make affordable version of this innovative drug and launch them in the market. This is one of the major reasons why most of the drugs that you buy in the pharmacy cost you so less compared to the innovative molecule. So why wasn't there an affordable version of trastuzumab even though the drug was approved in late 90s? This is because of what kind of molecule it is. There are two families of medicines. Family 1 is chemical. Your paracetamol, most of the antibiotics, your regular BP tablets, they are very simple, small molecules built in a chemistry lab from an exact recipe. Making one of them is like baking a cake from a recipe. Same flour, same sugar, same oven, same cake. Anyone with that recipe can do it. So when the patent expires, another company makes an exact copy of it. Same molecule, atom to atom. That's called generic. Because it's an exact copy, the regulator's job is simple. They don't make you repeat huge trials. Basically, they ask just one question: does it reach the bloodstream same way as the original one? Prove it and you're done. Fast to develop, affordable to make, and India been leading this manufacturing last 30 odd years. That is how India earned this name, the pharmacy of the world. But trastuzumab isn't that kind of a medicine. It falls in the second family, which is biologics. Your insulin, the monoclonal antibody like trastuzumab used in cancer and other diseases, falls in these categories. These are not built in chemistry lab. They are grown inside a living cells in a giant steel tank. When you feed these cells and hold them in the right temperature, they produce medicines for you. They are, they are enormous next to the tablet molecules. Just for a comparison, if a paracetamol is a bicycle, the trastuzumab is a passenger plane. It's highly precise and complex. Living things are never exactly identical. The company that develops this molecule originally never reveals what cell they use, how did they grow in their tank, what was their feeding schedule, because these are developed over years. It's not some recipe anyone can follow. One important fact is that even the original company can't copy it. Exactly. Every batch of this drug produced in the same factory, There is always tiny natural variation. That's normal and it is expected. So, if the innovator can't make two identical batches, what chance a competitor have? What you can build is highly similar that behaves the same way as the original one. Hence the name biosimilar. By now you would have understand why there was no affordable trastuzumab. It's not because nobody wanted to make one, because making one is very hard. Which is why, to a regulator, these two are completely different beasts. For a biosimilar to prove no clinically meaningful differences, usually bigger clinical trial is required compared to the generics medicine. Now that we understood the difference between these two, let's come back to our topic. Trastuzumab treats positive breast cancer which has HER2 receptor in the cancer cells. In India, more than 100,000 breast cancer patients are diagnosed every year. 3 in 4 of diagnosed patients have HER2 positive. Think of the amount of vials is required for their treatment. Which is why many serious global players were already in this field developing the biosimilar molecules. Along with them joined an Indian company called Biocon. Here's what my manager told me at that time, and it stuck with me forever. When our team started this program, we were roughly fifth player in the world to begin chasing it, behind giants with far deeper pockets. But Biocon finished it first. In December 2017, the US FDA approved the first trastuzumab biosimilar ever in the United States, and the first biosimilar from an Indian company ever approved in US FDA. And remember the ODAC meeting that we spoke few episodes back? It went in front of them. The vote was 16 to nothing, completely unanimous. I was in the early years when I was in Biocon while this was happening. I was nobody. I didn't work on it, but you could feel in the building. And honestly, at that time, I didn't understand what I was standing next to. It took years in the industry for me to realize that was a historic moment and it happened here in Bangalore, India. So, how does the team started so late finished first? Because it was never only a science race. It was a patent and legal race. And India had 30 years of practice exactly doing that. Before that, let me explain the timeline. Trastuzumab patent expires in Europe 2014, but in the US not until 2019. The American approval came in 2017 for Biocon's trastuzumab, before the US patent even ran out. That's not a lab achievement, that's licensing and legal strategy, securing rights and clearing patent path in advance. That's the generic knowledge Indian farmers spent decades in learning to produce affordable medicines. But hold on, there is a question I skipped, and it's the one that actually matters. Why chase America at all? India is the home market and patent is expiring early in Europe. Then why? Because before 2010, approving a biosimilar in the United States wasn't difficult, it was legally impossible. No pathway existed, hence, no competitor could enter. So, these medicines stayed expensive, a monopoly with no expiry date. Then in March 2010, President Obama signed Affordable Care Act, famously known as Obamacare. Inside the giant health law, there was a section called Biologics Price, Competition and Innovation Act. This wasn't primarily a science law, it was a price law. And the whole purpose was to create competition and to bring the biologics cost down. And this law, for the first time in American history, created a legal pathway to approve a biosimilar. So, look what happened. In 2010, America introduced a policy change, and in 2017, an Indian company walks through it first. That's not a coincidence. That's a company reading the foreign country's legislation, understanding the brand new market. It is very important for a company to strategize which country, in which order, and why. And the deciding factor usually isn't science, it's the price. If you really want to strive to be a good regulatory person, you must understand this costing involved, because getting approved and getting paid are two different fights. And in some countries, they are not even separate. Take Brazil for an example. Getting your drug approved as a safe and effective by their agency Anvisa is only half job done. Before you can sell a single vial, you go to a government body called CMED that, that decides the maximum price you are allowed to charge. You submit economic data and you propose a price, and they set a ceiling by comparing various drugs in the market and your price in other countries. So in Brazil, you can have a fully approved medicine and still not be on the market because the price isn't approved, or the price agreed may not be suitable for you. Approval isn't permission to sell. This reshapes everything that you understand about regulatory. If you accept a low price in one country, and that number can be used as a benchmark against you somewhere else. So the order you enter the market can decide what you are able to charge for years. Now you have understand why it is important to ask where can I get the drug approved rather than how can I get it approved first. So what really changed after 2017 in trastuzumab market? The competition arrived. The cost of the treatment came down around 65%. Today, Indian trastuzumab is sold somewhere between 6,000 to 15,000 rupees. Think about that in real terms. A treatment that used to be unattainable for many became affordable. With 55 plus blockbuster biologics losing patent protection between 2022 to 2032, every one of those is a huge opportunity for companies like Biocon, and also for people to get affordable medicine that could save them without impacting their pockets as well as their quality of life. But here's what I actually want you to take away from this. The gap between a treatment exists and you can afford it was never a scientific gap. It was an economic one. And it closed when someone understood the economics well enough. Everyone thinks regulatory affairs is about knowing the science. But a molecule doesn't always reaches a patient just because it works. It reaches them because someone understood the law and the money well enough and built a strategy to get the molecule approved in the market. Science tell you if the medicine can exist. Economics decides whether anyone will ever be able to take it. Learn both. That's the job. I'm Jude Stephen. See you in the next one.